I feed off of positive energy. When people are positive around me, I thrive. I value my relationships. I'm grateful for the learnings, and I treasure. When I fail, if you don't love what you do, it's hard. You have to live your business.
Okay, Mike, Mojo Mike of Savs, welcome to the Get Busy podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We're in San Francisco, like Berkeley. It's
Bay
new.
Area,
yeah, here we are. And I'm just sitting here, and you were talking before we started rolling, and you were telling me about how you got your start. And I was blown away because it's not on your LinkedIn page and it's not on your Instagram,
Right.
sir.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's all right. So you have this super cool brand called Savs. You have this food festival everybody eats, but you started your journey of entrepreneurship at Logitech,
Right.
as a security guard.
Yes.
Okay.
Before my entrepreneurial road, I started there.
Yeah.
19 years old in the security department.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about your experience in the corporate world and what sort of led you to entrepreneurship.
Okay. So I started in security. Life happens. My girlfriend at the time, my wife now, she got pregnant. And so I was like, man, I got to make a move. And so I finessed my way into the media relations department.
At Logitech?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I met a couple people and talked to them, and it was almost like survival, right? Because I'm about to have a kid. I can't be a security guard.
Right.
I need benefits. And so I got my way into the media relations department at Logitech in 1999, I believe. Yeah, as a temp. And just kept adding responsibilities. I was like, I can do that. Give it to me. I'll take it. And so within 6 to 8 months, I got offered a permanent position. And I was there for 10 years.
Wow.
And so during my time there, I had a couple promotions, learned a lot. They paid for classes for design.
That's so great. Like to be able to take advantage of that kind of opportunity.
Right.
Is key, I think, for entrepreneurs and people who want to start their own thing. Like every opportunity to learn something new is one you should grab hold of.
Yeah, and I didn't know how critical the learning was back then.
Yeah.
I was just soaking everything up, trying to survive, trying to get ahead. But I learned branding, I learned marketing, public relations. That was the field that I was stuck in, and I had a couple great mentors there that really poured in and taught me the game. And then I just kept taking that knowledge and brought it to the next projects that I went on with. So.
And you were saying, you didn't really dig the politics part of the corporate. Like
corporate politics. Yeah.
Like was that the aha moment you had where you're like, I can't do the bullshit?
Pretty much. I mean, I'm a college dropout. So working my way up, adding on these responsibilities, showing and proving all the time wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I was getting promotions and they were like, oh, you're going to get 20% of, on your salary. But my salary was so small. What's 20% of zero is still zero.
Right.
But I was able to, create good relationships, learn a lot. And so I took that. But that was my aha moment. They didn't like the way I dressed there. I was in sneakers and a hat and jeans when everyone had polos and button-ups and Dockers. I couldn't do that. I wanted my work to do the talking. So towards the end of my tenure there, I was working directly with the CEO, doing his branded presentations, doing video production, shooting him, directing the footage and post-production. I was doing all this stuff one-on-one with the CEO, but yet I couldn't get the respect because I had Jordans on or I wore a t-shirt to work.
How long did it take you? That's a very uncomfortable feeling to be in a situation where you are not comfortable in your skin. Right. Was there like a moment when you were, doing your corporate job where you're like, was the whole idea percolating? I
always knew that.
You always knew.
I always had a gut feeling that I was going to be on my own doing something.
Because you said earlier.
Since I was a kid, I knew.
You said you're a hustler.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that mean? How do you maximize that?
For me, the definition of a hustler is see an opportunity and having the right relationships, the right network, the right skill set to be able to have that idea come to fruition and see it full circle.
Right.
That's something that I feel like I've gotten good at over time.
Yeah.
Because I value my relationships. I'm grateful for the learnings, and I treasure when I fail. I learn a lot, and I don't take that for granted. So just adding that on top of each other, I think that's what kind of has helped me, be where I'm at today.
Yeah,
actually.
No. And it, like, just to, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but, like, there is nothing wrong with hustle.
No.
Right? Like,
no,
it doesn't mean you're...
I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
So for the people who are out there watching this, people who are, thinking about starting their own thing or making a step, a move out of the corporate world, how do you embrace your hustle?
One thing that I've always had to come to terms with was I have to love what I do.
Yeah.
I have to have that passion. If you don't love what you do, it's hard.
Yeah.
Because you have to live, eat, sleep, drink, whatever. You have to live your business.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur.
You do.
You can't turn off any, like, at 5 p.m. and just not think about your business. So anyone that aspires to be an entrepreneur, that wants to do a side gig while they're working their 9 to 5. And if the side gig blows up to become something, then I'll quit. It's very unlikely that will happen for them, because in my own experience, right, it was always, I have to live and breathe this.
Yeah.
I can't turn off this thing that I love to do, right? And that's create.
I think that, like, the true entrepreneurs, not just, people who buy a franchise, for example, like the people who go on to create things and disrupt known ways of thinking are exactly what you're talking about, right? You can't, you breathe it. You think about it constantly.
Right.
And it becomes so much a part of what you stand for.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I've seen some of the media you've done and some of the interviews, and you're launching a podcast, right?
Trying to, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. You're going to be great because you have such a heartfelt philosophy about entrepreneurship, right? Like, you are a believer.
Yes,
in
you have to
the
be.
Empowerment this brings to people's lives. Right. So is that something that you developed after you started your own thing, or is that something you felt?
I believe it was a development. At first when I was starting out, it was about survival.
Yeah.
It was about trying to make sure that I had enough for my family, right? My wife and I, we've been married 21 years. She had a really stable job in the medical industry. So when the time came for me to be able to quit, it was only because of her benefits.
Yeah.
It was only because of her support that I was able to do what I did in my own business. And so we built this thing together.
Yeah.
Right. So for us to be able to do that, I think that's, been something that I'm really, really proud of.
You're the second person today who said it was because my wife had benefits that I was able to take this leap. And I don't think we can overstate how important having a support system is for this kind of journey.
Yes, for sure.
Right? Like, you have to have a champion, and you have to have some kind of stability, because this is a path of most resistance.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Ups and downs, a roller coaster of life. I mean, even now, we just had a great event this past weekend.
Yeah, everybody eats.
Yeah, it exceeded expectations. And it's just the emotions, the highs and lows. Even now, you're coming down off the high.
You're coming down.
You're questioning, man, like, do I want to keep doing this? Where do I want to go? And so having that, support and that foundation, that I can always come home and know that my rock is solid. My wife, my relationship with my kids, that's something that I value more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think having a foundation, that is strength, right, is the key to, stabilizing those ups and downs.
Right.
And, it is, it's dramatic being an entrepreneur, right? Not everybody rolls out of bed and buys Tesla and becomes Elon Musk, right? Like, it is work. Right. There's a grind to it. But you, talk to me about why like this is so important to you, and the message that you have out there on different media, on different podcasts that you've been on, you've been on TV, you've been on mainstream media, and you just like you emit this energy and this vibe of like, I watch you and I'm like, shit, maybe it's not too late for me. Maybe I could, listen to this guy, listen to Mike, and be an entrepreneur.
I'm grateful that, that you feel that way, but I mean, it's just being honest.
Yeah.
We talk about the ups and the downs. And in my home, we cherish the downs.
Yeah.
Right. The wins aren't as great if you don't feel the sting and the hurt of a loss.
Right.
So, my son is trying to follow my footsteps. He has his own brand. He's trying to do his thing. He's working with me in the business. Yeah. My daughter graduated college. She's running the show at our office. So I'm barely ever there. I get to create on the go.
Yeah.
I get to continue to build relationships, knowing that my family, my daughter's running the show, my son's helping. We have that foundation.
Yeah.
And so teaching them the value of, when you experience a loss, when you take a L, honor it, understand where's the learning. What do I want to learn? What am I supposed to learn from this so I'm better for the next? Because they're essential, right?
It's hard to get that perspective though when you're in it.
Oh yeah, big time.
Like, 'cause you're
no one wants to take a
down
loss.
The hill
No.
and there's nobody.
Mm-mm.
How do you? I mean, it sounds very romantic, right? Like embrace the L and
Sure.
all of that. But how do you do that? Like, how do you stop
So
yourself?
for me, when I'm experiencing a win, that's when I remember the L.
Yeah.
Right. When I'm on top, even after this event, we're expecting 3,000 people, almost 5,000 people showed up. And so at the epitome of the event, I'm remembering all the uphill.
Yeah.
I'm remembering it now and it keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
On the flip side, when I'm in a valley, I remember those times we were blessed. Right. And so it might, sound cliche or whatever, but for me, I live that.
Yeah.
And that's just honest. I celebrate the wins. I appreciate the losses, and I remember the ups when I'm down and the downs when I'm up.
Yeah.
So that's
all perspective.
Balances everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think wisdom and experience gives you that kind of vantage point when you're down or when you're up.
I wasn't thinking like this at 25. No way.
No.
Right. L, I just hated it and I was cursing and I'm like, man, I don't have any more money. What happened? You know?
I'm finished. I'm doomed.
So with the wisdom and experience, I mean, with the experience and the age and all that comes that wisdom.
Yeah.
But being sensitive to it, I think is critical.
And, respecting which side of the up or down you're on, like you have to respect the process. And you just said a few minutes ago, you were talking about, everybody, like my daughter is running the thing and my son is doing it. And you said it gives me time to create. Yeah. Right. Talk a little bit about the role of creativity in your journey as an entrepreneur.
So it's funny, I'll always tell people I'm not the most creative. I'm not the most artistic. No, not at all. Nope. I'm not.
So what are you then? Are you are you business?
That's where I think the hustle comes.
The hustle is
business.
I
take the little bit of creativity I have. I take the great relationships that I've built.
Yeah.
I have the experience in how to produce garments and know where to go and how to get it quick and, know how to maximize the opportunity and put it all together. I think that's where I feel I have a unique advantage.
Yeah.
Right. That part.
Yeah.
But I'm not the best illustrator. I'm not the most creative. I have friends that are crazy creative and I admire that.
Yeah.
I'm not that, but I do have a little bit of creativity and then I do enlist help. Right. So we have me and my team. So there's a bunch of guys that I work with and they have their own respective businesses, brands, or they're videographers or photographers. They're just a bunch of creatives. And that's kind of my circle.
Yeah.
We'll have, by an annual or, twice a year, we'll go on a creative retreat and we'll lock ourselves in a dope Airbnb that's super inspiring and we'll create, we'll talk, we'll go over, one of my guys was like, this is a perfect opportunity for us to look for blind spots in our business.
Yeah.
right? To reflect, to see where, okay, everything is going well, but where could we be better?
Yeah.
Where are we lacking? So we have these creative retreats, and that's when we get to kind of come together and share ideas and just feed off each other. So creativity is critical, but collaboration is as critical.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. And I think like knowing, what your skill set is and shoring it up with people who complement, you don't want to surround yourself with people who are exactly like you. Otherwise,
no, you want to hire people that are better than you in that space.
In different ways, for sure. And I'm sort of inverted here, but when you go on those creative retreats, that's for SAVs, right?
It's actually for everyone.
It's for everyone. Yeah.
So everyone, there's maybe 5 or 6 different brand owners. There's a guy that's one of the head shoe designers at a really, really big company that comes.
So you bring everybody together. Yep. So it's like a carnival of talent.
Yes. Yeah. and we're all friends. We're all family. It's, we all got love for each other.
Yeah.
And so that rising tide's kind of, a rising tide lifts all boats kind of mantra is synonymous in everything we do, not just the festival, but the way we work, the way we live, the way we interact with each other. That's something that I try to preserve in our little culture that we've built.
So can we talk about the SAVs brand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that, because I'm reading about it and it's like so much more than apparel. Right. Like there's a whole philosophy behind it. You tell your story.
So, the nickname I had when I was a kid was Young Sav. And, a Sav or savage back in the 90s slang was somebody that was a go-getter that would do anything.
Hustler, right.
Hustler. So
really?
Do what you have to do.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where the name came from. And the brand stands for just that. It honors those who are savages in their own right, meaning they'll do whatever they have to do to get what they need, what they want, right? You can be a savage as a PE teacher or, in any respective field. If you go hard for what you want, you love what you do, and you do it the right way, those are the kind of key pillars of message that we push.
How did you come up with the idea? Like,
it was actually by accident. So all my friends and I, we all play basketball, and we were playing in a men's league. And I was like, oh, well, we don't have a team name. Let's just be the Savs, because that was my nickname back in the day. Created a logo, and then I was already doing apparel for multiple years. And so I made shirts that we'd wear going to the games and on our jerseys. So I designed dope jerseys. And people were like, hey, what brand is that? That's dope. And so I was like, man, maybe we could sell some shirts to pay for our league fees or whenever we go to tournaments.
But you had no idea this was going to be like.
Not at the time, right? So I told all my teammates and my friends, hey, let's do pre-orders. We're going to do hoodies. They can pick the color of the hoodie. They can pick the color of the logo. And for the next week, just take pre-orders. And I remember in the first week we sold, I think we got like 300 hoodie orders in the first week.
Was it an e-commerce site? Or
it was in the streets. No, it was
in the streets.
Hey, you, my point guard, my big man, go ask your friends. Because people, So we basically made mock-ups and we had everybody just take orders within their circle.
That is amazing.
And we ended up selling 300 or 200 or 300 hoodies in the first week. And I looked at my teammates. I was like, I think I'm gonna start a brand. And so that's how Savs became a brand. Because then I was like, man, this has legs. I'm actually gonna treat it like a brand now.
Right.
And so no longer a hoop team. Oh, we still played hoop, and we still have a team to this day, but the brand can continue to live on.
Wow. So you took it online and did marketing and did like the whole startup.
Yeah, so we had relationships with store owners, with past projects that we did.
So you used your network.
Used a network, and then we got it in a couple stores. We started e-commerce, and I kept the same structure that I started. So I had a couple really good friends that they were salesmen in the streets with their peers on their own social medias. And so I continued to allow them to buy wholesale just like a retail store would. So they would make money with me. So every time we drop, I have 10 guys in the streets. Hey, I want 20, I want 30. And they'll give me orders just like a store.
That's hustle.
Right.
That's the hustle.
And that's how we started. We started that way. And you know, I love our story, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
It's really beautiful because it's just organic. The way it, like, you were just going to pay legal fees, right?
Like streetwear,
like
like
you just
really
kind of tripped over it, right?
Yeah. So, you know, we got lucky, but again, I was able to see a moment, see opportunity, and try to capitalize.
And so from Salves, which is, you know, a beloved brand and kind of an enthusiast brand, right? Like it's definitely a type that wears the Salves. You also, so the whole Everybody Eats, how did this food festival, like how did this come to pass?
So Everybody Eats, the first time we celebrated Everybody Eats, it was our 10-year anniversary for the brand. And so we were approaching 10 years.
So was it like a celebration?
Yes. Okay. It was really just a celebration for Salves. We're celebrating 10 years. I want to throw a party, but we're all brand owners. So I asked all the guys in my circle, all the guys I was affiliated with, hey, I'm going to throw a party, a public party to celebrate our 10 year. Let's do a collaboration together. And so let's work together and design something. So I think 10 other brands came to the event. They had a collaboration with me. And they had their own booth where they dropped that collaboration. And for me, because it was a celebratory thing, I said, you guys keep the money. We'll just pay for the cost. You guys keep all the profit because I want everybody to eat. Right. And so that's kind of how the event came about. It was our 10-year anniversary. So after that, I was super overwhelmed. And then so I thought, let me bring in more people. I don't want this to be about my brand. I really want this to be about everyone we're connected with. And so I asked two other fellow entrepreneurs, a couple guys that I helped build their brands. I mentored them, younger guys. They became really, really successful. We now share a warehouse office space together. And so it's literally like a family business. Yeah. But I asked them, I was like, would you guys want to be a part of this? I want to open it up. And then we also asked another guy who helped me throw the first event. He's an event promoter, an event producer. And so we asked him to be a partner. And so us four with our team and our supporting cast, we started the next year. And so year 2, we did a free event last year. Close to 4,000 people showed up. We had 21 brands showcased. That's insane. Yeah. And that was in San Francisco on the hottest day of the year. So
was it a word of mouth? Like how did people?
Yeah, we did social media promo. We did a couple media spots because, one of our partners had the relationships. So they're like, hey, we can get on KTVU. We can get on, we have an article that's being written, on different publications. So we got some multimedia.
You seized the opportunity. Like you are so good at seeing opportunity and grabbing it and maximizing it.
Right. And it's not just me. It's awkward to hear, oh, you did this, you did this. I always want to say we. Yeah. Because my team is me. Yeah. Right. We do everything together. We celebrate each other's wins. So even when my boy is dropping something and he sells out in 5 minutes and makes $100K in 5 minutes, I'm celebrating like I won, even if it didn't have anything to do with me, because that's the culture that we're building. Right. That's what we're trying to build with what we got going on. So
it's really like your story and your success is inspiring, and it you confirm. First of all, you restore my faith in humanity, right? Like when times and hearing your story. But you also it's a story of optimism, right? Like you walked into the room. I didn't speak a word to you when you came into the studio. You just have this optimistic vibe.
I appreciate that.
Like it's just an amazing.
I mean, we are called to be light, right?
Right.
I want to be a light wherever I go.
Yeah.
And I feed off of positive energy. When people are positive around me, I thrive. And when people are negative around me, it's depleting.
Yeah.
It's so polar opposite. And so I don't want to be around any of that energy at all.
Yeah.
Right? That energy just sucks the life out of you. And so we want to preserve that. And so if I'm pushing that, how can I go around in public and not be a light?
Right.
Right. So, yeah, that I focus, and I'm very intentional on making sure that I'm pushing that positive vibe. And I don't want to be fake. So when I'm not feeling it, maybe I don't go out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it's easy to be that way when you do love what you do.
Yeah.
When you have a passion for helping and wanting other people to win and being an aid. That's kind of been my vision and my focus for the last year. It's not about my brand anymore, because my brand's going to live. It's going to do what it does. But I want the people around me to win, like really. So I want to be an asset. What I've built, the things I know, the relationships I have, how can it help you or you or you, you know?
Right.
And I push that. And that's been kind of my goal.
Yeah.
Is making sure that people that I love and I care about and I want to see win know that I'm in their corner, know that I'm down to do whatever we need to do to help them grow and succeed.
So you're on the other side of everybody eats, right? It just happened. Right. So what are your thoughts right now? Are you going to do it again? Are you going to change it up?
I believe so. I think we can continue to progress as we have. You know, first, second, third year, it's grown every time, and it's gotten better, I believe. And I think we still have room to grow.
Yeah. And there's music too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a full.
So there was 30 brands that showcased new product. So
that's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. 30 brands that showcase new product, 18 to 20 food vendors that had a special,
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just a regular menu. They dropped something different. And then we had a full lineup from 12 to 7 p.m. of DJs, R&B artists, rap artists, dance troupe. Like it was just, it was cool. It was cool. We had a budget for entertainment, so we enlisted the help of some really dope up and coming artists in the Bay Area. And so, yeah, I think there is room to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be a shame to let something that's special go. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of background stress.
It's kind of a nightmare, the logistics of an event like that and the laws and
I
the
didn't
rules.
eat anything that day.
Like
from the morning. I didn't eat until 11 p.m. After breakdown, after everything.
Yeah.
And what sustained me, I believe, was the energy.
Yeah, probably.
Everywhere I looked, 4,000 or 5,000 people. I'm walking in the crowd. Everywhere I turn, there's a family member. There's a friend. There's somebody that supports the brand. There's strangers wearing stuff, my stuff that I've created that don't even know who I am there. And that just kept me going. That energy sustained me throughout the whole day. Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean, it is
really cool.
It is a powerful thing when you can impact somebody's happiness with something that you have created.
That's the payment sometimes for me. It's not really about the money.
No.
Right? Sometimes it's about seeing that joy. Having people be really excited about an idea that I thought about at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And a month later, it's sold out, or people are really excited to have it. Or they're posting like, man, I got it in a day. This is, the shipping was faster than Prime. And so we care about our customer service. We care about creating that relationship. And I think that's why we have such an engaging fan base or following. Yeah. Where it is very, like, we purposely wanted to instill loyalty within our brand. Yeah. Right.
And you do that by creating an emotion, right? It's an emotional grab. It's meaningful. Yes. And it's, there's purpose in what you're doing. And so, you've been so open and, generous with your time. Like at the end of this interview, I'm just wondering, what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs? Like, what is your advice?
The things that I always preach, right? It's going to be hard work. It's not
nothing
overnight.
Can prepare you for how much work it is.
It's not an overnight thing.
Yeah.
So you have to love what you do and be ready to grind. And then be sensitive to the moments where you can learn, right? See the people who've come before you that are doing well and take notes and learn from what they're doing and apply it to your own game. right? There's things that you're going to learn that may not fit your style or may not fit you. So you leave that. But the things that work for you, take it and absorb it and utilize that, So just being a sponge in the game, having respect for the people that came before you, and staying hungry. Stay hungry
is huge. One more thing, because I forgot to ask. Mistakes, right? Like everybody steps in a steaming pile of shit every now and again. And we're making this into a very romantic story, right? Yep. Like I've kind of glossed over because it is very inspiring. But like the biggest mistake you've made as an entrepreneur, what would you say?
I don't know if it's the biggest, but one of the most memorable.
Okay.
Right. So this is in the beginning of my journey learning cut and sew production. So cut and sew production is creating garments from scratch.
Okay.
Right. So this jersey that I collaborated with my son to make, we made this from scratch. It wasn't a blank that we bought. We have a manufacturer that helps us create this piece. We source the fabric, we pick the colors, we pick all the embellishments, and the way that we do it, the fit, all of it is custom.
Yeah.
So that's cut and sew production.
Okay.
So in my early stages, learning this game, I thought I had it dialed in. And so I was ready to take my first leap. And I remember I went big and I ordered 300 jackets with like a Golden State Warriors inspired design with the colorways. So, because we're fans. And that was one of the items that I was like, I'm going to kill it. It's going to be great. Well, I picked the Pantone colors. I gave them the Pantone colors that the Warriors use, but didn't understand their print technique.
Oh.
Right. So
Did
I didn't know.
the colors come in wrong?
They came Laker colors.
Oh, that's completely wrong.
Completely wrong. So the blue that I thought was coming, royal blue, came in a purple. So this warrior inspired jacket came in Laker colors. So if you're a basketball fan, you can't do anything with that.
No.
So I spent thousands of dollars. I waited for production. I was waiting by the door.
Prevented that? Like consulted somebody?
There really was. Again, it was a failure, but it was the biggest learning.
Yeah.
So from that point, what I did was I had a meeting with the manufacturers. I said, when I call out a color, how are we going to make sure this is right?
Yeah.
So we took all the fabrics that we print on, and they printed the entire Pantone color book
so you have it
on
right there.
each fabric.
Yeah.
And I said, you keep one and I'll keep one. When I reference this color on this fabric, it has to be this. And so from that point,
we set a standard.
We never made a color mistake again.
Yeah. Well,
but
first
it cost
one
me
was a big
tens of thousands of dollars.
Right. And maybe like a little pride.
Right.
Right.
Oh man, my heart was broken. I was at the door waiting for UPS to come.
Oh God.
And when it came, I was excited like a kid at Christmas.
Somebody sent you the wrong thing?
No, I knew because it was my design.
Oh.
I saw the design and I was like, why does it look like a Laker jacket? And my heart was broken for a day.
And then you dust it off.
Yeah.
You got to move on.
You got to keep going.
Yeah.
So that was one of the big mistakes. But again, one of the biggest key learnings in my journey as an apparel producer.
Yeah. Mistakes are always the places where you learn the most.
Right.
In life,
in business,
whatever.
That's why I celebrate the mistakes now. I learned to celebrate them.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Really,
I
really appreciate it and wish you so much continued success.
Thank you so much.
And lots of food festivals. I want to come next year.
I hope so. Yeah, you should.
I'm hungry right now. I want some leftovers.